You are in a game, unaware that the rules have long since changed. Every step you take is being tracked. Every glance turns into a tool of manipulation. And you don't even realize how you've become a pawn on someone else's board. But don't rush to despair, for there is one secret that will change everything. This video is based on Nietzsche's philosophy and will appeal to those who seek a deeper understanding of themselves and wish to uncover the hidden forces that govern human beings. Well then, let's begin. The world does not pity the weak. It does not pause for the broken, nor does it slow down for those who have been deceived. If you find yourself shackled, used, controlled, it is not fate, not misfortune, not the cruelty of others. It is a contract you have signed in silence. Every manipulation that binds you exists because you allow it, because somewhere along the way, you surrendered the throne of your own will. No one rules over you unless you first step aside. No one bends your spine unless you first lower your head. Manipulators thrive not because they are powerful, but because you have abdicated your power, inch by inch, moment by moment, in the name of comfort, peace, or worse, acceptance. But here is the truth. No one is coming to save you. No righteous hand will descend from the sky to tear apart the strings that control you. There is no mercy for the passive. To remain a victim is a choice, because the chains that bind you are invisible, made not of iron, but of belief, your belief that you must endure. Break this belief, and you break everything. Refuse to play the role they have written for you, and the entire structure collapses. When you realize that submission was never a necessity but a habit, you will feel a shift in the air. The eyes that once looked down on you will widen in fear, because nothing terrifies a manipulator more than the moment their prey wakes up. So what will you do now? Continue to kneel, or rise and burn the script they wrote for you? Duty, conscience, obligation, the instruments of slavery. The chains that bind you are not made of steel. They are made of words, of ideals whispered into your ear before you even knew how to resist. Duty, conscience, obligation. They say these are virtues, the marks of a noble soul. Lies. These are the ropes with which they tie you to the ground while they rise above you. These are the invisible whips that force you to kneel and call it righteousness. You owe, always, to your family, to your society, to those who have done something for you, to those who have done nothing but still demand a piece of you. They have taught you that to be free is selfish, that to live for yourself is sin, that the highest form of existence is sacrifice. Sacrifice for what? For whom? The faces change, but the structure remains the same. Give, serve, obey. And so you carry weights that are not yours, suffer burdens that do not belong to you, all while the masters of this world smile and tell you what a good person you are. The reward for your servitude is not freedom but more servitude. The moment you bend, they add more weight. The moment you give, they demand more. But here is a truth they do not want you to know. Obligation is a cage built for the obedient. Those who see through the illusion, who stand and say, "I owe nothing that I do not choose to give," are feared. They are called cold, selfish, ruthless. Why? Because they are untouchable. Because the hand that tries to chain them finds no grip. You are not born to be a servant. Your conscience is not a leash. Let it be a sword instead. Cut through the false debts they have placed on your back. Let go of the illusion that you must be everything for everyone, and watch as those who once controlled you begin to tremble. There is no greater terror for them than a person who stands unburdened, owing nothing but their own will. The manipulator always smiles. Your greatest enemy is not the one who raises his voice against you, not the one who threatens you with clenched fists or open hatred. No, the true danger does not come with thunder and fire. It comes as a whisper in the dark, as a gentle touch on the shoulder, as a smile that hides a dagger. Beware the one who never raises his voice, the one who speaks softly but leads you into cages of his own design. He does not attack. He guides. He does not command. He suggests. He weaves his words into the fabric of your mind until you believe they were your own thoughts all along. The manipulator does not need force, because he understands something fundamental. People do not resist what does not feel like an attack. He does not break you. He bends you, slowly, patiently, with precision. And when you finally collapse under the weight of his will, you will not even realize that you have fallen. He will not tell you what to do. He will make you want to do it. He will not chain you. He will convince you that you should stay. He will smile. He will praise. He will assure you that everything is for your own good. And when you suffer, when you feel the invisible grip around your throat, he will be there, not as your captor, but as your comforter, whispering that it was always meant to be this way. But know this, his power is an illusion, and his greatest fear is the moment you see it. Because the moment you recognize his methods, the moment you stop mistaking his kindness for care, his smile for sincerity, his whispers for truth, he loses everything. The moment you look him in the eye and let him know you are no longer asleep, his grip begins to weaken. The manipulator is a coward disguised as a friend. He thrives in the shadows of your trust, in the blind spots of your mind. So do not listen to what he says. Watch what he does. And when the mask begins to slip, do not hesitate. Tear it off completely. Every time you justify yourself, you lose. Power is not taken, it is surrendered. And nothing strips you of your power faster than the moment you begin to justify yourself. The second you explain, the second you defend, the second you attempt to prove your innocence, you have already accepted the premise of the game. And in this game, you will always lose. Those who demand explanations from you do not seek truth. They seek submission. They do not need your reasons. They need your obedience. Every justification you give is an admission, not of guilt, but of weakness. It is an unspoken confession that their judgment matters, that their accusations carry weight, that their perception of you is something you must correct, something you must bend to. And the more you speak, the deeper you sink. The strong do not justify. They do not plead their case before those who have no right to judge them. They act. They decide. They move forward without waiting for permission. And that is why the weak resent them. The world is full of those who demand that you explain yourself, not because they wish to understand, but because they wish to control. But here is the truth. You owe no one an explanation for being who you are, for choosing what you choose, for living as you live. Those who respect you do not require justification. And those who require justification do not respect you. Stop playing the game. Let the questions remain unanswered. Let the accusations echo into silence. Watch as those who seek to pull you down find themselves grasping at shadows. And when they realize that you will not kneel, that you will not defend, that you will not waste another breath explaining yourself to those who have already decided to misunderstand you, they will know they have lost. If they rush you, they want to deceive you. Truth has patience. It does not tremble, does not fidget, does not push itself upon you with frantic hands. Truth can wait, because truth is eternal. It stands unmoved, knowing that time will only strengthen it. But lies, they are fragile. They rot in the light, they collapse under scrutiny, they must be swallowed before they are tasted. That is why the liar always urges you to decide now. Hurry, before you think. Hurry, before you see. Hurry, before the illusion cracks and the truth reveals itself beneath the mask. Urgency is not a sign of importance. It is a weapon wielded against your reason, against your instinct, against that quiet voice inside you that hesitates, that senses the trap. The manipulator knows that hesitation is dangerous. If you stop, even for a moment, you might see. And if you see, you might refuse. Watch them closely. Watch the ones who flood you with words, who demand answers before the question has even settled in your mind. Watch the ones who tell you that time is running out, that opportunity will be lost, that you must choose now or regret forever. It is never about time. It is about control. It is about forcing you into a corner before you realize there was never a wall behind you to begin with. The wise do not rush. They pause. They breathe. They let silence do the speaking. And when silence stretches, when the manipulator grows nervous, when he shifts in his seat, when his smile falters, that is when you know. That is when you see the cracks. That is when you understand that the only thing that was ever urgent was his need to deceive you. So wait. Always wait. Let the fraudster drown in his own desperation. Let the liar suffocate in the space where his deception cannot survive. The truth will remain. The lie will collapse. And you will still be standing. Listen not to words, but to intentions. Words are masks. They can be shaped, polished, made to shine in the light of persuasion. A liar can dress his deception in poetry, wrap his falsehoods in the softness of flattery, and paint betrayal in colors so beautiful that you mistake it for a gift. But no matter how skillful the tongue, no matter how elegant the phrase, the truth does not lie in what is spoken, it lies beneath it. A man can say anything. He can swear loyalty while sharpening the knife behind his back. He can promise kindness while planting the seeds of your downfall. He can feign innocence while leading you into a trap. But the body betrays the voice. The silence between words speaks louder than the words themselves. The action that follows exposes what the sentence tried to conceal. The wise do not listen to what is said. They listen to what is meant. They watch the hands, not the lips. They see where the path leads, not where the guide claims it leads. They strip away the disguise and look at the raw force that drives a person forward. Intentions cannot be faked. They seep through even the most carefully chosen words. You will see them in the hesitation before a false promise, in the way the eyes linger too long or not long enough, in the way an outstretched hand offers you help but grips just a little too tightly, as if claiming ownership. Stop being deceived by the melody of speech. Listen to the silence beneath it. Feel the weight of what is left unsaid. A man can lie with words, but his motives will always reveal him. And once you learn to hear them, no deception will ever blind you again. I'm doing this for you, a red flag. Beware the hand that offers a gift with invisible chains attached. Beware the voice that speaks of sacrifice but trembles with unspoken demands. Beware the ones who wear the mask of selflessness while tightening their grip around your throat. Emotional blackmail does not scream, it sighs. It does not strike, it burdens. It does not threaten, it guilts. And its favorite weapon is the debt you never agreed to owe. I'm doing this for you, they say, but what they truly mean is, you now owe me. This is not kindness, it is currency. This is not generosity, it is leverage. The manipulator cloaks his control in the language of care, shaping his words so that refusal makes you the villain. He makes you question yourself, doubt yourself, feel ungrateful, selfish, cruel, because if you do not yield, you betray the one who has given so much. But ask yourself, if a gift comes with a price, was it ever truly a gift? True kindness asks for nothing. True giving does not linger in the air like an unpaid debt. When someone truly acts for you, they do not remind you, do not demand repayment, do not press their generosity against your conscience like a knife. But a manipulator cannot allow such freedom, because freedom is the enemy of control. So watch closely. Feel the weight of the words. If someone's care comes wrapped in expectation, if their sacrifices are weapons disguised as gifts, if their love is a contract you never signed, then you are not being cherished, you are being owned. And there is only one way to escape such ownership: to tear the illusion apart, to see the game for what it is, and to return their gift untouched, unpaid, and rejected. Feel guilty? Find out who planted it there. Guilt is a chain that binds without force, a prison where the bars exist only in your mind. It does not shackle your hands, yet you cannot move. It does not break your bones, yet you kneel. It is the most elegant of all cages, because the prisoner locks the door from the inside. And who benefits from this? Who placed this weight upon you and whispered that you must carry it? Guilt is never born alone. It is given, delivered into your hands by those who understand its power. A manipulator does not need to raise his voice, does not need to command, does not need to threaten. He only needs to make you feel responsible. Responsible for his happiness. Responsible for his suffering. Responsible for making things right. For fixing what was never yours to fix. You disappointed me. After everything I've done for you, I never thought you would do this to me. These words are not weapons in the obvious sense, but they cut deeper than any blade. They plant a seed inside you, a question, a doubt. Am I truly at fault? And once the seed takes root, you are no longer free. But here is the truth. If guilt was handed to you, it was never yours to begin with. If someone must remind you of your debt, then it was never owed. If your sense of duty feels like a collar around your neck, then it is not duty, it is control. So do not drown in guilt before asking, "Who poured this water around my feet?" Do not beg for forgiveness before asking, "Who convinced me that I had sinned?" If someone feeds you guilt, let them keep it. If someone wraps it around you, tear it off. A free man does not carry burdens that are not his own. And the moment you drop this weight, watch as those who once held power over you scramble, because without guilt, they have nothing left. Forced to choose between two evils? Step out of the game. Why, there's always a third option. The game is rigged. They want you to believe that your only choices are between two evils, that your fate is sealed by these narrow paths. Choose the lesser evil, they whisper. It's the only way. But in truth, this is not a choice at all. It is a trap. And the moment you accept the terms of the game, you are already bound by its rules. What if I told you that both options are poison? What if the game you are playing is designed to force you into a decision that guarantees your suffering, regardless of your choice? And what if, just what if, the illusion of a limited choice is the real trap? To choose between two evils is to accept the game. But you are not born to play games designed by others. You are not a piece on someone else's chessboard. There is always a third option, a path that does not lie in the binary, a decision that exists outside of their false confines. It is the option they do not want you to see, the one that requires you to look beyond the immediate, the one that demands you to stand outside the game and refuse to be manipulated into choosing between two disasters. Why do they force you into these false choices? Because they know that when you are confined to a limited selection, your freedom is taken from you. When you think you have only two roads, you forget the vastness of the landscape around you. And in this narrow vision, they control you. But the truth is, there is always more. There is always a way to step out of the binary. There is always a path that lies outside of the options presented to you. It may not be the obvious one, it may not be the easy one, but it exists. And when you find it, when you dare to step off the road they have laid out for you, you will realize that you are no longer a prisoner of their game. Choose not to choose. Refuse to play by their rules. And in that refusal, you will find the true freedom they have kept hidden from you all along. If someone criticizes your success, they want to see you down. When you begin to rise, the world becomes a mirror, reflecting back not the brilliance of your light, but the shadows of those who are threatened by it. And the manipulator, ever watchful, sees not your achievement but his own fear. He does not admire your victory, he despises it. He does not congratulate you for reaching the summit, he longs to pull you back into the depths. Criticism is not always about the thing you've done. It is about the thing you are becoming. Those who criticize your success do not care about the path you've walked. They are focused on the road they fear you will leave behind. They do not question your actions. They question your very right to be elevated, to succeed, to be anything more than they are. And the moment you rise, they strike, hidden beneath the guise of concern, beneath the pretense of advice, beneath the polished veneer of friendship. They say, "It's too much too soon. Who do you think you are? Don't get ahead of yourself." These words are not a warning. They are a plea for you to return to the shadows, for you to shrink back into the obscurity where they are comfortable, where they can remain the center of the world that no longer includes you. The manipulator feeds off your doubt. Your success threatens him, because when you succeed, you reveal his failure to embrace his own potential. So he plants seeds of uncertainty, doubts disguised as logic, fears hidden as caution. He thrives when you question yourself, when you begin to wonder if perhaps you don't deserve the heights you've reached. But listen, your success is your birthright. It is a reflection of your will, your effort, your unyielding resolve to rise above the world that wants to keep you small. And the manipulator? He is nothing but the voice of the world that fears your greatness. The one who tells you to be quiet, to stay in line, to keep your light dim so that his can shine. Do not let them steal your confidence. Do not let their shadows cloud your vision. Their criticism is not a reflection of you. It is a reflection of their own inability to rise. When they attempt to drag you down, it is because they know you have something they will never have, the courage to soar. I love you so much, but the fork of dependency, manipulation through love, is the most deceptive. Love is a weapon that burns at both ends, a fire that can warm or consume, depending on the hand that holds it. In the hands of a manipulator, it is not the pure liberating force we dream of. It becomes a chain, wrapped delicately around your heart, tightening with every beat. And the words they use are crafted to trap you in this prison of affection. I love you so much, but... the but. The sharp twist in the knife, the phrase that turns affection into a conditional contract. This is not love. It is an offer that demands your submission, your compliance, your very soul. The manipulator knows that you will endure any trial for love. And so they dangle it before you like a carrot, just out of reach, but never quite enough to satisfy you. I love you, they whisper, but if you really loved me, you would. And there it is. The fork in the road. The choice between your heart and your independence. Between your sense of self and the need to please, to conform, to surrender your will for the promise of love that is never truly unconditional. The manipulator does not want your freedom. They want your dependence. They do not desire your growth. They want your loyalty. But this loyalty comes at a price, your identity. You are no longer free to love yourself. You are no longer free to be who you are. Your actions, your thoughts, your very existence becomes measured by the manipulation of love. You find yourself caught in a constant tug-of-war, torn between the desire to be loved and the desperate need to retain your autonomy. And slowly, imperceptibly, you begin to lose yourself. The manipulator knows that love is the most potent weapon in their arsenal. For love, in its purest form, is the one force that can transcend all else. And when they twist it into something that chains you, you will always seek to free yourself, not from the love itself, but from the shackles they've built around it. But you must see the truth. Love that demands you to sacrifice who you are, that insists you mold yourself into what another desires, is not love. It is ownership. And until you recognize that love can never thrive on the foundation of control, you will remain a prisoner. I love you so much, but... These words are not a declaration. They are a cage. And until you step out of it, you will never experience the liberation that true love offers. Not the love that manipulates, but the love that frees. Has the person changed? No, they've just shown their true face, how to recognize the master of masks. People do not change. No, they do not. The illusion of change is merely the stripping away of the mask they once wore, one that concealed the darkness, the selfishness, the manipulations that have always existed beneath the surface. We are not as we appear to be. We are who we have always been, hidden behind the facades we construct for the world. But what if I told you that there are those who have mastered the art of masks? They know how to craft 1,000 different faces, each more convincing than the last, each one designed to deceive, to control, to manipulate. They wear these masks with ease, slipping from one persona to another, never revealing the truth of their intentions. The master of masks is the one who can convince you of anything, because you never see them for who they truly are. They shape themselves to fit your expectations, to lull you into comfort, only to reveal their true nature when you least expect it. When you meet someone who is truly a master of masks, they will never seem inconsistent. No, their personas will seem perfectly crafted. Their behaviors will align with the role they have chosen to play. But beneath it all, there is always a constant. The desire to control, the need to manipulate, the hunger to possess. And this desire will always leak through, no matter how skillfully they hide it. The master of masks knows that the world is easily deceived by the illusion of change. They understand that we are all desperate to believe in the goodness of others, to cling to the idea that people can evolve, that they can transform. And so they wait, hiding their true face until the moment they have you caught in their web. But this is the truth you must see. There is no real change in them, only the unmasking of their true face. They are not a new person. They are simply showing you what has always been there, lurking beneath the surface. They will use your trust, your hopes, your love to their advantage, and when you least expect it, they will reveal their true nature, cold, calculating, and ruthless. So do not be deceived by the appearance of transformation. The true face of a person can only be seen when the mask slips, when they can no longer hide behind the illusion. It is then, and only then, that you will see who they truly are. But by then, it may be too late to escape. Who controls your emotions, controls you. Learn to be colder than ice. Emotions are the chains that bind you to the world of others. They are not spontaneous. They are a delicate currency, traded in whispers, in glances, in every action that tugs at the heart. Yet, here is the truth that few dare to face. Whoever controls your emotions controls you. They have the power to pull you like a puppet, to drive you to act in ways you never intended, to force you to abandon your reason, your strength, your will. Every emotion you feel is an invitation, an opening, a crack in your defenses where someone else's influence can seep in. Rage, fear, jealousy, love, each of these emotions is a door. And the moment you step through, you become a slave to what lies on the other side. The manipulator knows this well. They know that if they can make you feel something deeply, they can bend you to their will. Your emotions become their weapon. But what if you learn to become impervious to this? What if, instead of being carried away by every surge of feeling, you could stand as an unmoving stone in the torrent of life's storms? What if, instead of reacting, you could observe? Instead of surrendering, you could control? To be colder than ice is not to be numb. It is not to be detached or incapable of feeling. It is to master the art of choosing when and how to feel. It is to create a distance between the world's provocations and your inner self. It is to let no one have the power to stir you, to make you act in haste, to lead you down paths you did not intend to walk. When you learn this, when you gain control over your emotions, you step into a power that is more formidable than any weapon. For in a world where others are ruled by their impulses, their fears, and their desires, you will remain the calm at the center of the storm. The ice does not melt in the heat of passion or fear. It remains unmoved, unaffected. And so too must you be. In the coldness of reason, in the strength of your own will, you become the master of yourself. And in mastering yourself, you gain the power to navigate the chaos of the world, untouched and untouchable. For when you no longer allow others to dictate your emotions, when you become colder than the ice, you have achieved the ultimate freedom, the freedom from being controlled. The one who plays on sympathy is a spider, and you are its fly. Tear apart the web of others' problems. Sympathy is the sweetest of traps, the invisible snare that binds you with invisible threads. It is so delicate, so subtle, that you do not even see the web being spun around you. And yet, in the moment you are caught, you realize too late that you have fallen prey to a cunning manipulator. For the one who plays on your sympathy is not a savior, but a predator, a spider weaving a web of guilt, obligation, and dependency. And you, in your noble desire to help, to understand, to be the one who alleviates suffering, are nothing more than the helpless fly caught in the silken threads of their design. This is the power of the manipulator. They do not need force. They do not need coercion. They only need your empathy, your guilt, your need to be the one who saves. And so they feed on your compassion, using it to drain your energy, your time, your resources. Their problems become your problems. Their pain becomes your responsibility. You become so entangled in their struggles that you lose sight of your own path. Your own life becomes a secondary concern to their endless demands for attention, for help, for rescue. But here is the brutal truth. Your sympathy is not a gift to them. It is the very thing that holds you captive. You are not helping them by carrying their burdens. You are only sinking deeper into their web, trapped in a cycle of dependence that serves their needs, not yours. And the longer you remain in their grasp, the less of yourself you retain. You lose your power. You lose your freedom. To break free from this web, you must first see it for what it is, a trap, a manipulation, a game of power where you are not the hero, but the victim. The moment you recognize this, you can begin to tear away the threads that bind you. You can sever the ties that hold you to their problems, and in doing so, you will reclaim your life. You must become ruthless in your compassion, not in the sense of being cold or unfeeling, but in the sense of protecting your own energy, your own sovereignty. When you give, you must give on your own terms, not out of guilt, not out of manipulation. Only then will you see the freedom that comes with cutting away the tangled web of others' issues. Do not be the fly caught in the spider's trap. Recognize the web, and with the clarity of a mind unclouded by misplaced sympathy, break free. You have your own life to live, your own struggles to face. And it is only by freeing yourself from the chains of others' demands that you can truly rise. If someone is too good, ask what they want. Altruism is often just a mask. Goodness. It is a word that stirs the soul, a word so often used to define the most virtuous among us. But what is it, truly? Is it the pure selflessness we are told to admire, or is it, in fact, a calculated performance? Behind every act of kindness, there is always a reason. There is always an intention, a motive that goes beyond mere charity. And in the depths of this goodness, if you dare to look closer, you will find the truth. Altruism is often a mask. There is a type of person who cloaks themselves in goodness, wrapping themselves in the illusion of selflessness, and their actions seem without flaw. They are the ones who are always there to help, to serve, to give. Their kindness knows no bounds, at least, that is what they want you to believe. But beneath the polished surface of their generosity lies a quiet hunger, a longing for something far more valuable than your gratitude. The question, then, is simple. What do they want? Every act of kindness hides a desire. The saintly figure who gives without asking is often the one who expects the most in return, though this return may not always be obvious. The gift, the favor, the self-sacrifice, it is not an end, but a means to an end. What they want is control. They want power. They want to be the one you turn to, the one you rely on, the one who becomes indispensable in your life. In truth, their generosity is a carefully crafted strategy. Their altruism is a mask that hides the true face of their ambition. But how do you discern this hidden agenda? How do you uncover the motives that lie beneath the veneer of selflessness? It begins with the understanding that nothing is ever purely without gain. No, the one who gives so freely is always looking for something, whether it is your dependence, your loyalty, or your admiration. When someone's goodness is too perfect, too unwavering, too flawless, be suspicious. The mask they wear is designed to make you feel small, to make you believe that you owe them something, that you are forever in their debt. It is an art of manipulation that makes you feel both grateful and guilty at once. This is the truth you must face. Altruism, when worn as a mask, is not about love or compassion. It is about control. It is about shaping you into the person they want you to be, about making you think that you owe them something more than just your appreciation. So when you encounter someone who seems too good to be true, ask yourself, what do they really want from me? Unmask their generosity, and you will see the power they seek to hold over you. It is a dangerous game they play, and if you are not careful, you may find yourself caught in their web of false kindness, forever indebted to a shadow of their true intentions. The manipulator loses power when you look them in the eye and smile. The final step, become unbreakable. There is a profound strength that lies in the simple act of meeting someone's gaze, unflinching, unwavering, and with a smile. To look directly into the eyes of a manipulator, to stand before them with all the serenity of someone who knows their own worth. This is not just an act of defiance. This is the ultimate power move. In that moment, you strip them of their weapon. You render them helpless. You show them that their influence over you has ended. The manipulator feeds on your vulnerability, your fear, your doubt. They seek to weaken you, to make you bend to their will, to break your spirit piece by piece. But the moment you meet their eyes with confidence, When you smile not out of submission, but as an affirmation of your own strength, the game changes. Their power dissipates in the face of your unyielding presence. They no longer see someone to control. They see someone who cannot be broken, someone who stands tall in the face of their manipulation. The truth is, the manipulator's greatest weapon is not in their words, their tactics, or their strategies. It is in their ability to make you doubt yourself, to make you feel small, insignificant, dependent. When you stop doubting, when you refuse to let their actions disturb your inner peace, you rob them of their control. You no longer play into their hands. You transcend their petty games. But this is not something that happens overnight. It requires you to cultivate an inner strength so deep, so solid that nothing, no manipulation, no deceit, no force, can break you. You must learn to stand tall, to own your space, to trust in your own truth. This is the final step, to become unbreakable, to be the one who cannot be moved, swayed, or torn apart by the whims of others. When you become unbreakable, when you no longer fear their manipulation, when you are not shaken by their tactics, they lose their power. You become the master of your own fate, immune to their tricks, untouchable by their schemes. And in that moment, you step into your true power. The manipulator will try to make you bend, to make you submit. But when you look them in the eye and smile, you show them that you are no longer their prey. You are the one who controls the narrative. You are the one who shapes your own destiny. And in that moment, you become the one they can never break. As you walk through this world, remember that the true power lies not in bending to the will of others, but in standing strong in your own truth. Know your worth, trust in your strength, and never let anyone manipulate your mind or spirit. Become unshakable, and the world will see you as you truly are, unstoppable. Take this knowledge, carry it with you, and use it to reclaim your freedom. Until next time, be bold, be fierce, and never let anyone dim your light.